Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the major crash that is happening right now on Bitcoin. We did, in fact, break beneath the critical level of support at $110,000, and today, Bitcoin has begun a downtrend, which could drop us down to the zone of support that we've talked about between $94,000 and $100,000. Today, we're going to analyze what support Bitcoin has beneath it, whether or not we should be going into longs, and where we should do that, and also what the long-term outlook on Bitcoin looks like so that we can be prepared for whatever comes, so that we can build wealth in whatever the market holds. So, without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Bitcoin, as you can see, has fallen below a very important uptrending level of support and is revisiting local lows that we set on Friday of last week when Bitcoin initially liquidated down to this level. We have talked about all week about the different reasons why Bitcoin was likely going to break below $110,000. Predominantly, it had to do with the fact that the bounce off of $110,000 was extremely weak. We only managed to rally back up to the 0.382 Fibonacci, which was here at $116,000. After we had 13 red candlesticks in a row on the hourly chart, we only managed to rally back up to the 0.236 Fibonacci level here at $113,000. This characterizes a very strong bearish front. This tells us that the bears are very much in power, and as we've discussed, it also means that we had a head and shoulders pattern forming right here on the the hourly and the 2 hourly chart, which would give us a possible price target as low as $104,000. That is now what is occurring in response to the price predictions that we made on Friday, or not on Friday, on Monday and Tuesday, that we'd had about a 45% chance of breaking that uptrend, and we have a 45% chance of falling back down to this uptrending level of support right here. This long-term uptrending level of support that governs the Bitcoin market still is holding, and it allows for Bitcoin to go through a correction from $125,000, 25% to the downside, and we could bottom out somewhere in the high 90s, maybe even only putting a candle wick beneath that level. So right now, that side of the prediction is coming true. Bitcoin has broken beneath $110,000, and just recently I posted on X to stay out of longs. The reason that I said this, stay out of longs, is because Bitcoin is now in bearish price discovery mode. We have not necessarily bottomed here at $108,000, and we need to be very careful about getting too bullish, because the bears are very much in charge of this market. The Bitcoin bears are currently driving the short-term price action of Bitcoin as we find ourselves beneath this level of resistance, which used to be support, as we've talked about. Now, one of the things I want to mention here is that this is not necessarily the beginning of a Bitcoin bear market. We do not have any of the bear market signals flashing. We have none of the top signals flashing on Bitcoin, nor have they. And I don't personally believe that you're about to see Bitcoin drop down to like $40,000 a coin or anything like that. That said, the bottom beneath Bitcoin is precarious, and it's going to take a little bit more time of building market structure to figure out exactly where the bottom's going to be. So let's look at different places that the bottom could be on Bitcoin. The very first thing I wanted to look at is the Fibonacci retracement and extension from our previous correction down to this uptrending level of support. This uptrending level of support on the linear chart, Bitcoin's daily chart, was our support architecture that we set here on April the 9th of 2025. And if you draw a Fibonacci retracement here, you can see that we find support right here at 109,000. Right? So we have supported 109,000, but we also have the 0.786 Fibonacci level right here at approximately 102. So $102,000 is our Fibonacci level of 0.786, and it's also a level of support that you saw Bitcoin fall down to multiple times in the initial run up to $125,000. So that's one level that we're looking at there at 102. If we draw another kind of Fibonacci, which let's just go to a clean chart and draw this Fibonacci. If we draw another kind of Fibonacci, which is a Fibonacci an inverse Fibonacci off of our bottom all the way up to our top, then you're going to see there's a few other kinds of levels of support. For example, we have the 0.382 Fibonacci sitting here at $106,000, which is just right beneath where Bitcoin is right now. We also have the 0.5 Fibonacci, which is exactly the halfway point between our low and our high, sitting here at $100,000. And it's kind of funny because our low was exactly $25,000 below 100K, and our high is exactly $25,000 above 100K. So the halfway point is, you guessed it, $100,000. If we look at this exact same Fibonacci as drawn based on our previous markets, what you're going to see happen is that you see that Bitcoin fell back down to that 0.5. If we draw the inverse fib off of this rally back here in 2024 and early 2025 instead of our current rally, then you can see, if I can just clean up my chart here a little bit so it's easier to see, you can see that Bitcoin fell back down to a very similar level, that 0.5. You can see the 0.5 in this case was at $78,000. Bitcoin fell back down to $78,000. Back in February, we were talking about how Bitcoin was going to break this uptrend right here. It was going to drop back down to $75,000, and that's where we would put longs. I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into Bitcoin down below $80,000 because of those calls. And I'm very happy I did, because we were able to catch a bottom, because we knew, or at least we didn't know, but we had confidence that this was not the beginning of a bear market, because we did not see this uptrend right here break. That uptrend didn't break. It held. Bitcoin was sufficiently sold to exhaust the bears, a 32% drop, and then that ended up being an excellent buying opportunity. And so, as I said, Bitcoin dropped down to the 0.5 and put a couple of wicks for a couple of days beneath it, but overall, in general, it held. If we go ahead and delete that Fibonacci here, what you're going to see happen is that the exact same thing is happening right now. If you draw the exact same type of Fibonacci, you draw off the bottom up to the top, then what you see is that the 0.5 sits at $100,000. Is $100,000 not just the most beautiful level of support that you have ever seen? Is $100,000 not just the most beautiful price target for a short trade if you were to drop below $110,000 that you have ever seen? Is $100,000 not just the best place that you could possibly think of to put a limit order, and putting a buy order in at 102 or 103 doesn't make much sense if you could just put that limit order down at $100,500? I hypothesize that if we break through 110, which we have done, that Bitcoin is going to revisit at least as low as 106, possibly all the way down to $100,000. And according to our governing prediction right now, I would expect Bitcoin to fall down to this uptrending level of support, or down to $100,000, or somewhere in between. Don't forget, we have a CME futures gap sitting right here at $93,000, and it just so happens that that is the Fibonacci retracement, Fibonacci golden pocket here, between $92,000 and $94,000. If Bitcoin came and put a candle body down to 100 and then scam wicked down to fill the CME futures gap, backtest this uptrend, had a V-bottom correction, and bounced off of $100,000, that would be, similar to the previous 32% drop, that would be a 26% drop, which would be the perfect setup to do a couple of things. Number one, it would be the perfect setup to rally us towards $135,000 to $140,000, probably sometime in Q1 to Q2 of next year. Secondly, it would also be the perfect drop to invalidate the 4-year halving cycle, and it would be invalidating the 4-year halving cycle in exactly the manner that we would expect. You see, people right now are not wanting to go long Bitcoin. They're not wanting to buy the bottoms because they're terrified that the October 6th high was the bull market top, and they think that we're going into a bear market. But you're going to have a lot of people buying Bitcoin down here between $92,000 and $100,000 if we go down there, because Bitcoin didn't top. We had none of the bull market top signals flash, not a single one of them. Over on CoinGlass, there is a list of 30 different bull market top signals. Not a single one of them flash, not one. We did not see a parabolic blow off top. We did not see Bitcoin rally up to 200K. We didn't see any of that. And so many people that are very understood, that are very learned and very wise in the Bitcoin space, they're going to say, well, we didn't have the blow off top where Bitcoin rallies 800 to 1,000%. So why should we have the 4-year halving cycle bear market where Bitcoin drops 75%? That just doesn't make any sense. In fact, this rally that we just witnessed is the smallest of all the rallies so far in the bull market. This rally was 200% tall. This rally was 122% tall. This rally, as you can see, was only 68% tall. So why wouldn't the bulls set limit orders down here between $92,000 to $100,000? And then, if we go even deeper down the rabbit hole, why would these whales that would love to buy down at $94,000 not trigger a liquidation event that would scare all the retail and noob investors out of their positions to intentionally crash Bitcoin down below $100,000 so that they can get an entry sub $100,000 one last time, so that when Bitcoin goes to $1 million, they 10x their wealth in the next 5 to 7 years on your back, because you got freaked out and sold your Bitcoin because you think a bear market is starting. The whales profit off of you thinking that a bear market is starting, and they have every reason to crash the price of Bitcoin so they can get lower entries, and they can buy from you while you're panic selling because you did what retail always does, and you bought high at 125 and you're selling low because you're freaked out. I think that's what's going on right now. I think that is the theory that fits perfectly all of the technicals. I think that is the theory that fits perfectly what's going on with gold, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I think that's the theory that fits perfectly what happened on Friday. The big players, the Trumps of the world, the massive exchanges of the world, the Coinbases, the Binances of the world, these guys understand what is going on in the market. They understand that we will probably see some kind of small bear market. Not a 70, 80% bear market, but a small bear market. Maybe 25 to 35%. We wouldn't even call that a bear market, but a 25% drop on Bitcoin would be a drop, as we talked about, back down here to $94,000. I think they foresee something like that happening, and they're preparing for it, because if they get to buy at 94, 95, 96, 100, they've got those excellent buy orders. So why would this happen? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, we need to talk about gold. Of course, gold has been just going absolutely parabolic. In the last week, gold has added $2.3 trillion worth of market capitalization, rallying 7.9%. Gold is up 1% a day. That is incredible for an asset that is this old, and you have people lining up down the streets at gold dealers trying to buy physical bullion. This looks like the kind of parabolic breakout that needs a correction. Now, I want to go over what that correction is going to look like, because a great number of people are talking about the fact that, oh, gold can't keep rallying because RSI is the highest that it's ever been. Gold does need a correction, but this does not necessarily mean that gold is going to end. This does not necessarily mean that gold is going to end its bull market. It is true that gold is at the highest RSI that we have seen since 1973. But if you'll notice, back in 1973, the gold bull market did not end when we hit that top on RSI. Gold had a 28% correction and then went on to rally from that bottom 122%. So I do believe that gold at some point soon, because of technicals and because of people taking profits, is going to need to have a local correction. But I do not believe that gold is going to go into a massive protracted bear market anytime soon, because there is a crisis in confidence in fiat currencies around the world, and that is driving investors by the millions, hundreds of millions, to purchasing gold. I've told people for a very long time, gold is going to go to $10,000 an ounce by the end of the decade, probably significantly higher. This is the prediction that we have made. It's going to go to over $10,000 an ounce by the end of the decade. So gold is going to need, at some point in the next few months, a sell-off. And that sell-off might last 3 to 6 months. I don't necessarily foresee that being the end of the gold bull market, because gold is what traditionally people invest in when they are terrified of what currencies are doing. And it makes a lot of sense that gold might correct, for example, down to an uptrending parabola such as this. It makes a lot of sense that gold could possibly fall back down, rally up to 6,000, fall down to 4,000 or something like that, and then continue on even higher. But when gold does take a break, because it'll have to, when it does, over the next few months, it just so happens that Bitcoin's probably going to be down here at least 10 to 15% off of all-time highs. Right now, we're 15% off of all-time highs. The lower Bitcoin gold goes and the higher the gold goes, the better the arbitrage of selling gold and buying Bitcoin. And remember, we just had $2.3 trillion flow into gold in a week. Bitcoin's entire market capitalization is $2.3 trillion. And so when the rotation occurs, it is going to be enormous. And so there's a couple of applications I want you to take from this analysis. The first thing is, you should hold off on entering leverage longs. You should hold off on entering leverage longs, because we don't know where the bottom is. The bottom could be at 108. The bottom could be at 106 based off of the fib levels that we've talked about. It could be at 104. It could be on the visible range volume profile point of support. We just don't know exactly where that bottom is going to be. On the visible range volume profile, you can see that there is a point of control right here at 104,000. We could drop down to 104 and bounce. We don't have confidence in exactly where Bitcoin is going to bottom. To me, it makes the most technical sense that Bitcoin would drop down to the long-term uptrend, which you can see right here, bounce off of it and go into a massive rally from which Bitcoin will, print a ton of millionaires because of that gold rotation. But we don't know exactly where the bottom is. So if you're going long, do it spot. Buy Bitcoin, throw it into self-custody. The further Bitcoin gets away from all-time high, the better the investment it is, and the better the deal you're getting. So there's nothing wrong with DCAing or putting lump sums in at 108 if you're going to hold it for years. There's nothing wrong with waiting and saying, I'm going to buy at 104 if we drop down there. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going into leverage trades, wait. I want to be crystal clear. Wait on going into leverage longs, because you just simply do not know whether or not we have bottomed. And I don't want you getting liquidated again. Last week, we told you to stay out of longs. Friday came. People got liquidated. I asked you to stay out of longs. If you did, It happens. I'm not always right. I could have been wrong, but I do want to encourage you that until you have a technical setup for a long trade, do not take it. You have to set a plan and you have to keep it. And if you look down here on the 5-minute chart, at least at 3:13 in the afternoon when I'm recording this, we are beneath a very, very, very dastardly downtrend. And until Bitcoin is able to break above that, there are no fundamentals and there are no technicals that are saying that Bitcoin is going to go into an uptrend in the short term. More leverage longs are probably going to be liquidated over the next few days, and you might see a precipitous downtrend towards 100,000. But the good news is, and keep this in mind, Bitcoin has spent more time above $100,000 completely uninterrupted, 161 days, than Bitcoin ever spent above another price level when that price was broken for the first time. And what I mean by that is when Bitcoin first broke into the 4 digits back here, we were only above the 4 digits for like 30 to 60 days before we left them behind and we never went back down into the 3 digits, right? When we first broke into the 5 digits right up here, we were only in the 5 digits for approximately 90 to 100 days. And then we were there for another like 40 days, right? So about 140 days. And then we left the 4 digits behind and we never saw them ever again. So far, if you zoom in on Bitcoin, what you will see is that Bitcoin has spent the longest amount of time above $100,000 that we have ever seen, where at this point, the likelihood of us spending a great deal of time below $100,000 becomes increasingly less likely. It becomes significantly increasingly less likely. There's going to be a video coming on this chart, so stay tuned. I'm going to explain this more in another piece of content. But the point is, Bitcoin has established very firmly that it is a 6-figure asset. And in history, when Bitcoin has established that it has now added an extra digit, typically that's when you see the parabolic growth go and you see Bitcoin just go through this massive rally. After we established Bitcoin as a 4-digit cryptocurrency, we blasted straight to the upside. As soon as we established that Bitcoin was a 5-digit asset, Bitcoin exploded to the upside. And in the same way, when we established that Bitcoin was a 3-digit asset, Bitcoin exploded to the upside. Again, very important chart that you're going to see a lot more of. But what you're going to see happen over the next few years is you're going to see a major rally that is going to send Bitcoin up to $200, $300, $400, $500,000. By the end of this decade, you'll probably see Bitcoin trading between $400,000 and $700,000 per coin. And again, a part of that happening in the short term is going to be because of the rotation out of gold, as the arbitrage of selling gold to buy Bitcoin becomes more and more and more appealing. And that's part of the reason that we haven't seen a massive outflow from the exchange from the ETFs. We've seen a couple of big outflows. On Monday, we saw a cumulative of 326 million, but Wall Street isn't selling Bitcoin. You know, Bitcoin's dropped, but the ETFs are not selling, and that's something that you need to keep in mind. BlackRock holds themselves like 1 million Bitcoin or something absolutely insane. They hold a Nakamoto worth of Bitcoin, and so we have so much confidence that Bitcoin is going to have an extremely bullish time over the next 12 months or so that it really makes me start to say, I don't necessarily believe that the 4-year halving cycle bear market is going to happen. I think that you see a 25 to 30% correction on Bitcoin. Most likely you see a drop down to 94 to 100. Possibly you see a short-term drop down to 75, which would characterize a bear market. That'd be about a 40 to 45% drop. And from there, you're going to see an extremely bullish 2026 as the world continues to have fears around inflation. So that's my opinion. That's where I think Bitcoin is going. And I really, really, really greatly encourage you guys to stay tuned in the cryptocurrency markets, because everything is flying except Bitcoin right now. And that is something that typically does not last very long. Typically, when the rest of the market is performing extremely well and Bitcoin is stagnant, that means that you're entering into buying opportunities. Just remember, when an asset, especially a proven asset like Bitcoin, is down from all-time highs and people are scared, the way that you build wealth and you grow your net worth is by buying when there is fear. As people get more and more and more scared that, oh, Bitcoin's dead, oh, Bitcoin's going into a bear market, that is when you buy. That is when you put lump sums in. Again, I am very happy that I put 6 figures worth of cash into Bitcoin when we were at extreme greed at $75,000 earlier this year. And if Bitcoin does drop down towards $94,000 to $100,000, once again, I will be putting a serious amount of cash into Bitcoin down at those levels, because I firmly believe in Bitcoin in the long run, and I hope that you do as well. If you guys have not already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content. It is very important to me that I'm able to help you guys grow and succeed in the cryptocurrency space. And for that reason, I have actually opened up my very own financial coaching for you guys and the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy on discount. If you guys don't already know, I'm a financial coach. I'm more than happy to help you guys succeed when it comes to money. I just had a coaching call with a fella yesterday who's probably watching this video. Shout out to you, who will remain nameless for the sake of confidentiality. He's worth over $10 million. He's got a ton of Bitcoin. And I was talking to him and I told him, look, the most important thing you have to remember is that decamillionaires such as yourself, they build wealth through doing one thing. They maintain their integrity. Integrity is nothing more than the values and the principles that you can profess to hold being agreed with by your actions, thoughts, words, etc. And so when what we say matches what we say we believe matches what we do, that's when you build wealth. And so I want to encourage you to figure out whether or not you believe in Bitcoin. Figure it out. Do you believe in Bitcoin or not? If you don't believe in Bitcoin, don't buy it. Don't buy it. And the reason you shouldn't buy it is because you will lose money. But if you're like me, and you have conviction, and you believe in Bitcoin, then the integral thing to do, and remember, integrity is what builds wealth. The integral thing to do is to put your money where your mouth is. If you genuinely believe in Bitcoin, then you will have a peace about buying it when it drops that will transcend all else. I remember when Bitcoin dropped down to $3,000, back in 2018, I had a friend of mine from high school, and he came up to me, and I was dual enrolled in college, and I had basically decided I was going to forego being an astrophysicist. I wasn't going to go into engineering. I was going to drop out of college, and this was basically my last semester at that time. It was January of 2019, and Bitcoin's down here at $3,000 or $4,000 a coin. It had obviously been at $20,000, and a lot of people at this point in time, I mean, take a look at the chart, right? I mean, look at the chart. If you look at the chart, Bitcoin's back over here at, $3,000 a coin. Obviously, it's kind of freaky, right? And so I'm not exactly sure what my chart's doing. Here we go. If you look at the chart right here, this is what the chart looked like at the time. And this guy, he walked up to me and he said, "Oh, Jeb, I'm so sorry for you. You tried. You staked your entire career on this whole Bitcoin business, and you really just... I'm so sorry for you. I'm just so sorry for you. I pity you." This kind of stuff that he was saying to me. And I remember looking at him and smiling and saying, "Dude, you have no idea. You really have no idea, do you? Because you don't know what's coming." And I could see what was coming 5, 6, 7 years ago. We had that conversation down here. This is when he told me that he was sorry for me. And this is what happened next. And so I want to encourage you to figure out what you believe and put your money where your mouth is. If you believe that family is important, put your time into ministering to your family. If you believe that kids are important, then take care of your kids. If you believe that a relationship with Jesus Christ is important, then give your life to him and make him your king. Obviously, I need to believe that getting a haircut is a little bit more important. I got a lot going on. I always leave that till last, right? If you believe that Bitcoin is important, if you believe that it is the future, if you believe, like I do, that it is the most potent store of wealth that mankind has ever conceived, and you are serious about it, then you can do what I did. I started a YouTube channel on Bitcoin right here. This is where Bitcoin was when I started this channel. Sorry, actually, I got into Bitcoin right here. I started this channel right here. That's what you can do if you figure out whether or not you believe in something. Is if you give it enough time and you plant the right seeds in the right place, you fertilize them well, and you don't uproot them because you have an unshakable foundation of belief, then that, my friends, is when you will be able to get good entries on Bitcoin. And until then, you're going to be buying up here and selling down here because you are a fair weather friend of Bitcoin. You don't know what you believe. You just see price go up. It must continue going up. And you're going to be the retail guy that gets screwed because you bought the top and you get shaken out and sell the bottom. The reason that I have made money over the last decade in Bitcoin is because I believe in it and because I did my research, and I should believe in it because it's something worth believing in. You need to figure out who you are, figure out what you believe in, and then spend the rest of your life bringing your actions into alignment with that belief. And that, my friends, is where you will build wealth. So I highly encourage you, as Bitcoin's dropping, you have a phenomenal opportunity to build a portfolio. You need to ask yourselves, do you believe in Bitcoin? Do you believe that it'll be worth more in the future than it is today? Do you believe that it is a good place to park some of your hard-earned capital? If so, put your money where your mouth is. If not, don't you dare buy Bitcoin, because what's going to happen is you're going to get shaken out at the worst possible time, and you're going to be that guy that sells right when we're on the support and causes us to crash. So please, just stay out of the market. But if you believe in Bitcoin, when Bitcoin drops, you'll be like me, and you'll be saying, hallelujah, the Lord is good. I would love to get a discount on my favorite asset. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to stay tuned for more content. And also, one last thing I do want to mention, make sure to go ahead and, as I said, sign up for financial coaching if you haven't already. I'm running a 20% off coupon code on it right now. So you can get access to financial coaching here for $320 instead of $400. Like I said yesterday, I had a coaching call with a guy who's worth over $10 million. As you guys know, we have a full money back refund guarantee. He obviously enjoyed it. We had a great time. Guy flies private. He's building like a $4 or $5 million house. It's going to be worth like $15 million when he's done. I would love to meet with you. I would love to help you. I would love to coach you. I would love to be someone you can bounce ideas off of. I would love to help make sure, most importantly, that you are on the right track so that when you are running, you're not running in the wrong direction. Because the reason that most people fail in life is that they're running as hard as they possibly can, but their hard work is not good enough because they're working in the wrong direction. And they're trying to get to New York, but their ship is pointing towards Cuba, and they're going the exact wrong way. Let me help you get on the right track, and then your efforts will actually produce fruit. If you're interested in having my one-on-one help, setting you up to succeed financially, make sure to check out the link in the description box down below. And also, one last thing, if you want to learn about technical analysis, you can get access to the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy for 20% off as well right now using the coupon code JEB20. So make sure to sign up for that with the link in the description box down below as well. This is the #1 technical analysis academy in the entire world. We have over 5,000 students who have been learning about technical analysis for almost a decade now. This is time-tested, battle-proven stuff that you will be learning in here. You'll be learning alongside thousands of other students, and I would love to see your smiling face in there. By the way, there's a full money-back refund guarantee on both of those products. Make sure to check out our website for the details on those. But essentially on coaching, at the end of the call, if you thought it was a waste of time, tell me, and I will go ahead and refund you all your money. As far as CT2A is concerned, if you watch less than 25% of the course, because you can't watch the whole course and ask for a refund, that's not fair. If you watch less than 25% of the course and you say, this isn't for me, within 7 days, I'll give you a refund for everything. So both of these options are completely risk-free, and I firmly believe that they will be a benefit to you. That's why I'm so confident to put those very generous refund policies on there. And also, I've opened up my schedule 24/7, Monday through Thursday. You can do coaching. If you want to do coaching with me at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be yawning a little bit, but I'll be more than happy to jump out of bed and give you a coaching call because I know that a lot of you guys are struggling as Bitcoin is crashing, and I want to be supportive. And also, I have some openings on Saturday, so make sure to check that out. Really appreciate all of you being here. Stay tuned for more content. I love you. And before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.